Welcome back, and today I'm going to show how velocity works. If we create a new variable and call it velocity. Okay, so let's call this velocity y. And we start off by setting it to 0, and if we tried to change this, let's do if A is pressed, change the velocity by 1, and then rather than set y to velocity, we do change y by velocity. And now if we try this, when I press A, it will glide up, but that is quite weird, and that's because when it starts accelerating, it will never stop accelerating. So what we do is we set velocity to itself times a value, and this value can be anything that is under 1 and above 0. The higher or the closer it is to 1, the less it will glide, or the more it will glide, sorry. Let's just make a reverse function. Now you can see that we can go up and down, and it will slide. Okay, so now that we've got both x and y velocity in, we want this little cat to be able to jump. And to do that, first off, we shouldn't stop the y when it moves, so let's just delete that. And instead, we want to change velocity y by the gravity. So let's say the gravity is negative 0.5, for example. And now you see our character will fall. And let's just quickly make some ground so we can stop the player from falling. And now, in order to stop it, let's just do if it's touching color and then the ground. And if it is touching the ground, we need to set y velocity to 0. And now you see it will stop on the ground. And in order to make this character jump, we need to add yet another if statement. And in this one, we just set y velocity to how high we want the character to jump. So let's try 15. And now when we try to jump, yeah, it will jump, but let's just lower this value and higher the gravity. Okay, so now we can play around with this character. Yep, the gravity was way too high. So as you can tell, the character can now jump around, but there's one glitch: we can jump in air. And to stop this, we need to add an and to the jump function. So if you jump and you're touching the color. So now we can only jump on the ground. Okay, so really quick, I just threw this code together, and when I start a project, as you can see, when I click my mouse, it will start gliding against it. And this is just one of the many uses you can do with velocity. And let's go through the code. So it just resets the variables, and then we have a forever loop. The first thing it does is it faces the mouse pointer, and if mouse is down, it tries to change the velocity depending on its direction. If you want to learn more about sinus and cosinus, there should be a link in the description you can check out. So after, we just add some friction so it doesn't always go forwards, and then we change x and y by its velocity. Okay, so for a bonus to you guys, I'm going to show you how to do smooth gliding sprites rather than velocity. So the first we need is change any value of a variable or whatever you want by. So at first let's just drag in this division and then a minus. So what we write here is we put where we want the variable to go. We want it to end up in mouse X, and we need itself. So change X by destination minus itself divided by a number that is more than 1. So let's write 3, and now as you can tell, it's, let me just put it to 0. You can see how smooth it became, and if I put this to a higher value, it will glide slower to the mouse. So quickly I just threw together this engine. So when you click, the character moves and the background scrolls with it. And doing such a smooth camera, I used both of these techniques, both the velocity and the glide, which I showed previously. So this may look advanced at first glance, but it's quite easy. At the start I just set each variable to 0, and here I basically have the same script as before. But the difference is, instead of changing X and changing Y, I change a variable, so I later can set it to something. And what I do after that is I set camera X and camera Y to player X minus itself and player Y minus itself. And therefore you see that the character will be a bit in front of the camera when they are moving at high speeds. After, I just make the grid, which is quite easy of a script. You can pause it and look through it if you want, but it's not that useful. And at the end, I just go to player X minus camera X, player Y minus camera Y, and therefore it's always in the middle. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.